Alright, so starting off, I'm using this petal pink grit dye that I got somewhere, I don't know. And this is the first color in Create Doll. And I also have a makeup brush that I use and a rat tooth comb. So right now I'm just sectioning off the front two bangs, or the money piece you could call it. My idea for this first doll is to have her money piece be a very light pink, like very baby pink, and then the rest of her hair like a rose petal pink, you could say. So I am sectioning that off, and I like to use a rat tooth comb because it's just easier to get those sections perfect, and count the plugs actually and make sure it's even on both sides. So that's what I'm doing now, is just counting, making sure that each plug is the same. I can't tell you for reference because this was maybe 3 years ago. I don't even know. So yeah, I'm just wetting the hair now so that the color can cling onto it better. And then I take a piece from the back, do a test strand. And first you can see that color was too dark. It's not, it looks good here, but I know that it's just not what I wanted. So that's why I did a test strand before dipping the whole head in there. And I pour some of that out and dumped a little bit more water in there to dilute it. I use a kettle, which is just easier to have boiling water on hand. And so now I am doing another test strand, and with this color I was happy. It's the shade I want, so I am going to maybe I wasn't happy with it. Like I said, these videos were filmed 3 years ago, so I'm not even sure what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone what I did and what I was happy with 3 years ago. So we're on this journey together. We're watching this together, and I'm recording a voiceover as I go. So if you hear me pause and stop, that's just because I'm wondering what I'm doing and trying to explain what you're seeing. So yeah, I'm adding a little bit more Rit dye because I wasn't happy with that shade apparently, and I'm just contemplating my life. Maybe, I don't know. We shall see. Alright, so I guess I was happy with that shade because I'm about to dunk the doll in. I'm starting with the money piece because... Actually, that's a lie. I dumped the whole head in there. And it's not grabbing any color. I wonder why that is. Because now it's taking a pigment. So that is the shade I want just for the money piece. So I dyed the whole head in there. And so then when I dye the rest of the hair, it's easier to kind of just separate the money piece, and then I just dunk the whole head. So now you see that, and I'm going to add some fuchsia Rit dye just to darken up that the rest of the hair. And unfortunately you can't see it because the placement of my Rit dye is in the way. But so yeah, I'm just going to use the makeup brush, which is a tool I like to use in order to place the dye exactly where I want it. Sometimes it's easier to I don't know if you have experience using Rit dye on nylon hair. Sometimes if you dunk the whole head in, the roots for some reason of the doll don't grab the same amount of pigment as the ends do. And maybe that's just because you leave it in longer. The ends are in the water longer than the roots of the hair. But to ensure that it's all the same color, I use the makeup brush to place the dye exactly where I want it. And for this particular doll, I wanted to not get it on the money piece, so I used the Maker Brush to only get the parts of the hair that I wanted, that darker pink. And you can see that extra right now. So I poured actually just a little bit of the Rit dye by itself onto into the sink, and then I used the Makeup brush, just the Rit dye by itself, no water, um, to just paint that on. And you can see me doing that here. It's actually really fun because it's like you're painting on it all, but with hair dye or fabric dye. Um, and I thought that was really cool. It's a trick that I learned just over the multiple dolls that I've dyed. And I dip those ends in one more time to make sure everything is fully coated. And then you're just going to see me rinse the hair out to get any excess Rit dye out of the doll so that the pigment doesn't get any darker than it already is. I don't know if that happens, I just don't want it to happen. So that's why it's also just good to rinse out. You don't want anything, any excess dye in there to affect the doll's hair. So there she is, and we are on to the next doll. And for this doll, I can't say for sure what my idea was going into it. I know I wanted to, it looks like it's red here, but when I rinse it out, it kind of has like a peachy red tone to it, and apparently I was happy with that because I used that as the primary color on this doll. But I also wanted this doll to be a little more how do you say, the first doll is very bubblegum pop. The second one is a little more neutral style, not as bold and subdued. So I'm gonna go in and I added more Rit dye. I'm gonna rinse. I don't know what I was trying to do there, but I just dunked the whole head in it because apparently I was happy with that color. um, and it looks pretty good, honestly. I really am happy with the outcome. So I'm rinsing out that color. I don't know why I didn't do the ends yet, but I'm just going back and forth to make sure those roots are fully uh, covered. Also, one thing I want to mention, if you are dyeing um, any doll, or more specifically Rainbow High, if you're using Rit dye, don't leave the full head submerged in the Rit dye because it will attach to the paper inside of the eyes, and it will dye the eyes. That has happened to me. So just be very careful what how long you're leaving the doll inside of the Rit dye if you fully submerge the head, because it will dye the eyes that color. So for this next shade, I wanted her to have two shades in her hair. I think I was going to try and do I don't know what I'm doing here. I added fuchsia, maybe to make it a little bit more pink. So I wasn't happy with the color. Uh, and I'm just dunking that in. And I think I was a little upset here because I wasn't initially going for that color scheme. So I'm just winging it at this point. And um, I know how the final doll obviously turns out. So I know what I did. And I'm waiting to see how I got there. And so so far I'm really liking this color. It's just like this pinky, like peachy, reddish kind of color, and I really like it. And it dries super nice, like a mauvey pink. It doesn't look anything like what you're seeing now. All right, so I had to do a little quick cut because I was just sitting there debating my life. And so in this next clip, I added a little bit of purple to that dye, And I'm just dunking in the back a couple rows of her hair and getting a nice deep dark tone on there so that you can see underneath that she does have two colors in her hair just like her sister. And I'm adding a little bit more because it wasn't dark enough for my liking, and I'm unsure what exact shade that is. I know it's a purple. It may just be purple, but you can see how much darker that is, which is what I wanted. I like that look. So yeah. Now I am just rinsing that out. And actually, no, I'm lying. So I used a paintbrush again to get the back of the hair to make sure it's fully, or as much as possible. Um, I don't know what I'm doing. And also, my hair looks crazy. Oh, I was getting a spoon from the dishwasher. Just pouring that on to make sure it wasn't touching the top half of the hair. And I did get a little bit on, but the top of the hair, but that's totally fine because it's gonna be covered anyway. I'm not like putting her hair half up, half down, which that would be cool. And maybe if I want to do that, I could. But for the look of the doll, that's not what I was going for. So I didn't care if it was a little bit of the top was dyed. And I'm just going little by little, and the more you cover it, the and let that color sit on the hair, the darker it gets. So that's why I just did it over a couple of times. And I'm rinsing that out. And yeah. Oh, wow, look at this. So I actually go in, I dilute the darker pigment that I just had. I add a little more purple because I'm indecisive, and then I'm assuming I dunk the whole doll, the whole head of hair in there. I'm doing a test run right now to see how it would look, but that's how I got that mauve color. Now that I'm looking at it, the completed doll. So yeah, and I thought maybe that would help tie the two colors in together so they would match a little more harmoniously. So here you're just seeing me rinse the all the color out and making sure I use that cup. Why do I keep saying so much? I'm so sorry. To make sure that there's no more pigment in the hair. So I fill the cup up with just regular water, and then I dip the dolls in. And if I see any, if the water changes color, then I know that there's still remaining color in there, and I have to keep rinsing it out. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm making sure that each doll is perfectly good to go for when I shampoo their hair and add conditioner, and that's what I'm doing now. Because these dolls have curly hair, I want to just add a little bit more not texture, a little more moisture in their hair so that they don't get frizzy and that kind of stuff. And there was a little knot there, which I had to rip out, and then you can see me spiraling a little bit. And I go and finish rinsing the doll out, which is really fun. That's like the most therapeutic part to me, is just brushing their hair. I don't know why, it's just satisfying for me personally. So if you enjoy watching that, then this video is for you. And I'm just setting them up. Here is a finished look at them all dyed and rinsed off. And this is them partially dry. In the next clip, I'm going to show you how I styled them and what I dressed them in. Keep in mind, what you're seeing now was filmed a while ago, and what you're about to see was just filmed. So the dolls may look a little bit different. Their hair is a lot more drier, So just keep that in mind. But I was excited to show you guys how they all turned out, and I hope you enjoy what you see. So here are the final girls all finished up. I wanted to give you guys a little closer up view of what they were wearing and how I styled them. I'm not sure if I remember exactly what pieces go to who, so I will roughly go through what they're wearing. But yeah, so we'll start off with who ended up being my favorite. I didn't think she was going to be, but we have this girl here. I haven't given them names, so we shall see. But if you look under, I don't want to mess up her hair too much, but you can see the different tones underneath. This one is darker than the one on top. And I gave her these glasses, so I'm not sure. I think they're maybe, yeah, I think these are pinkies. I'm not sure. Or Pinkley, maybe Delilah, unsure. As you can see, she's got two little braids here that I styled. And then I pulled her hair back from two little pieces in the front. And if you can tell, the two tones here and the underlining of her hair is darker than the top. She is wearing a Bratz top with these fishnet, I think they belong to Bratz, but they're arm warmers. And she's got this little armband from Mina, Sabrina's earrings. She's wearing a Bratz skirt, and I believe this is a Bratz bag as well. And then for shoes, I forgot the name of the curator who 3D prints these on Instagram. I bought a bunch of shoes from her, but she's got these kind of loafer heels on, and and she's also got a bracelet from Delilah here. I don't know if you can see that there. So that is her all finished up. I will put these glasses back up here. Move her to the back, and then pull this stuff forward. We got this lighter pink doll. She is wearing, oh, I forgot whose glasses those are. Anyone knows whose glasses these are, leave a comment. She's got these shadow high hoops, big old hoops on. This Bratz t-shirt. This bag from one of those like blind box balls. I forgot the name of it. These LOL OMG pants from, I think, QDBB. I could be mistaken. I don't really know too many of the LOL names. And then she's wearing these Brianna Dulce second outfit shoes. And then I just gave her some bracelets. They're probably Shadow High bracelets or Roxy Grand. And yeah, that is it for the girls. I really am happy with how they turned out, and I would love to create more customs like this and eventually sell them. That's my goal. I like to make stuff just to be creative and use that as an outlet for myself. But I know I'm not completely happy with the outcome of all my customs. Not that I'm not happy with them. It's more so that they aren't dolls that I could see myself loving forever and having in my collection. So I would love to sell them and get them out there. And it's also just good to share your art and things that you've created. So I would love to do that in the future more. So if that's something you're interested, stay tuned. Give this video a like, comment, subscribe. Do whatever you need to do to stay noted when future videos come out. So yeah, thank you so much, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace.